Continue now with our lead story. Has President Obama entered the chaos zone? With us, Dr. Marc Lamont, who teaches at Columbia University. So is this the low point, in your opinion, for the Obama administration this week?
Absolutely. I think the combination of, the Fed report yesterday, which wasn't completely pessimistic, but not as encouraging as we would have hoped.
On the economy.
On the economy,
right.
Exactly. Combined with the BP debacle. I mean, he completely bungled the BP response. I'm not saying it's his fault, and I'm not saying that anything could have been done better, but the perception of how he responded to it made him look like he was out of control.
What do you think happened there? Do you think that he just didn't understand the gravity of it, or why wouldn't he, in the beginning, become more visible on the deal?
Well, first, I think he did what was right. I mean, people bash George Bush for not coming to Katrina. I didn't think George Bush needed to be physically. FEMA needed to be there, but I didn't think he physically needed to be there. Having photo ops and having security there, it's actually a distraction. So I think the president did the right thing tactically, but I think just like in December when we had the underwear bomber, he didn't think deeply enough about what it means for the public to not see him right away.
So he needed to show more emotion, in your opinion?
I think he needed to be more present. I mean, emotion can play out in a lot of
But if you didn't
ways.
want him down there, what is he going to be?
No, even having a more firm response on television. When you say emotion, I don't know if you mean pounding your fist or...
Well, I mean, look, there's emotion. He doesn't show a lot of emotion, Barack Obama.
This is not who he is.
Yeah, right. It's not his style. He just didn't do it. And Bush didn't either. The only time Bush really got emotional was after 9/11. But I think you needed that kind of a response from President Obama.
Yeah.
Kind of like an after, because this thing, Americans are just angry. They don't know who to be angry at.
Right.
So if you don't know who to blame, you blame the guy in charge.
Well,
right?
exactly. I think they're mad at BP. I think the American people,
Absolutely.
most polls say the American people blame this on BP.
But that's a sign.
Yeah.
BP is a sign.
No,
you're
right.
angry at a sign.
Exactly.
You look at this pelican. He's furious. All right, that he has to be covered with oil. And he doesn't know what's going on. All right, so now we have this firing yesterday of McChrystal.
Smart move.
Yeah, it's a smart move. He had to do it. We laid out why he had to do it, because it's not a matter of chain of command so much. Patton, they let get away with a whole bunch of things in World War II because of what he could deliver on the battlefield. But I think that behind the scenes, they think Petraeus is an upgrade on the battlefield, number one.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, if he were to let McChrystal disrespect him, the president, that he would be perceived as weak, and he's already perceived
That's
as
my
weak.
point. I think just
he had to do it.
He had to.
But it wasn't brilliant. I mean, it was like he had to do it. And these clowns go, "You're brilliant." What'd you think? What do you think?
Well,
Look,
brilliant is pushing it.
Okay, but you're a liberal guy, and you're sitting back in your liberal sofa.
Yes, it's a very liberal sofa. It leans to the left. Yeah.
Right. It was made in Venezuela.
Right.
All right. And you're sitting back and you watch these guys in the mainstream media, supposed, objective reporters. You know it's a farce. You know it's a farce.
That's a leading question, Bill. Here's the thing.
Of course it's a leading question, but you do know it's a farce.
I'll agree that the response last night to me was clearly a left-leaning analysis. I mean, for sure. To call it a brilliant move. I mean, the guy embarrassed him in full public view. He had no choice but to do it. It wasn't brilliant. It'd be idiotic not to do it. But again, that doesn't mean that it wasn't the wise move. It wasn't the right thing to do.
But why are they saying it's brilliant? My thing is they know the Obama administration is going south. They'd want to try to help.
Well, I don't think the public.
Then why would they say it's brilliant?
I think they I think this is just a hyperbolic administration, and I think the media arm is the same way. For the first 6 months of the Obama administration, everything they did was considered the unprecedented achievement, the crowning achievement, and the media has sort of shrouded him with this type of hyperbole.
But traditionally, the media in this country are cynical, and they're distrustful of people in power, and they're looking to get you. Yeah. And then you go on and, it's brilliant. It's so brilliant.
You may not know this, but Obama has a few people who are tough on him too.
No, but look. We put together that montage. We could have done that for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and you go, it has to be that the press in America senses, as you said at the top of the interview, this is the low point.
It's a bad moment. But here's the thing. You always invoke the comparison to Jimmy Carter. It seems to me that a more apt comparison would be to Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan inherited similar circumstances.
He didn't have this much trouble, though.
Well, Ronald Reagan's approval rating was actually, in 1982, was lower than Obama's.
But he wasn't in the chaos zone. You got 4 things in the chaos zone now. 4. And those are the biggest things in the country. Reagan didn't have that. And, if you were to say, okay, President Obama, you have to go on the factor tomorrow and point out your big victory, what would the big victory be? National health care?
I think that's a pretty major thing.
Well, but most Americans oppose it.
Well, I think most Americans oppose the process. When you look at
right now, most Americans say they'd like to have it revoked. That's what the polls say.
Most Americans are exhausted by the process. Most Americans are exhausted at the intermediate.
They want to revoke. You can't spin it,
no,
man.
it's not spin. It's not spin. I don't think that Americans.
So you would say that his biggest achievement has been health care right now. Anything else?
I think that's pretty major. But
anything else?
I think that's a crowning achievement. Yes.
Anything else?
I would say Afghanistan, actually.
Oh,
I think
that's a big thing.
Compared to what you don't think Afghanistan's compared to?
No.
Listen, compared.
It's a disaster right now.
Well, like you just said, it depends on who you ask. Many experts.
So this
say
is
that
what you're going to point to as your second biggest achievement, Afghanistan?
I think upgrading troops from where we were 2 years ago is major. We have stabilized Afghanistan in a way that George Bush never did. I think that's a major thing. I think we've moved forward on that.
How about that? All right. I'm not sure about that. All right, Professor. Thanks very much. We appreciate you coming on in. Directly ahead, Arizona Police Chief says